This is for her daycare. Remember, it's a daycare, not a church. I saw that you had put it was a church. Marsha is our hookup for daycares. She actually helped me get the she actually helped me sell the property 801 Northeast 144th, and now we have to find those people a daycare. So we have to work on that as well because that's an important little deal that we can make some money on. She just looks for investment. She's more of an investor. She looks for investment properties. So this is going to be called comparables. This is how we run comparables. So a comparable is all about our comps. The name is comps or comparable. They say comps or comparables. And the reason we run it is to find out how much the house is really worth. So the first thing you do is come in. Of course, we go back to the original. If someone likes it, they want to know how much it's worth and how much they should offer for it. So the first thing we do is we come to the original listing. We open up a tab there. I always open up a new tab, and this is, I'll show you why. Put another tab here of the Flex MLS. All right. So we already know we have this selected. We have this property. We're going to compare. This is the comparable. This is the property that we're trying to compare. So we're going to open up another tab here. One of the first things I always look at is, and this one doesn't have a subdivision, so this is going to be a little tricky, but let's go. This is why we need to look at it. So we're going to look at Atlantic Gardens. It has a legal description right there. We're gonna divide it by a legal description. Sometimes it's a subdivision, but because it's commercial, it's not really showing a subdivision. So I'm going to type in Atlantic Gardens and see how that helps us out. And I'll show you some key things to pay attention to here. This is going to be difficult because it's also a commercial. As you can see, it's zoned commercial instead of residential. So this might be hard to find a lot of commercials, but let's see. Let's look up legal description here. Probably not the best example to show you, but this is going to happen. So I'm going to need you. I mean, we're gonna have to figure this out. So let's see. Let's see if we type in Atlantic Gardens, what do we get? We get one listing. And that's probably the listing we're looking at right here on the commercial. Yep, that's this. So let's see. Let's do one thing. Let's look up commercial, because the one thing that's different about this property, let's look up closed. Okay, so this is the last one. Oh, the same one. This sold for $220. This same property sold for $220 in what year? In see, it's a closed listing, and we can look at the history. So at 2017, it's so November 2017, not even a year ago, it sold for $220. So that's interesting to know. What makes this difficult is because it's in a residential neighborhood. So if you look at this on a map, the majority of houses in the area are in a residential area. They're houses. See, if I click in satellite, they're houses, they're homes. And this is really a home too. They had to kind of give you a rundown about this area. This is a high area where they did a lot of drug rehabs. So I know they had to go through a lot of pushing around for it to be zoned. So for it to be zoned to commercial. So we're gonna go back to commercial. We're gonna type in some of the things that it has. I believe it's in Atlantic Gardens still. So let's try that as a subdivision. Let's see if this is gonna help us. We type in Atlantic Gardens and it does not. It does not help us. All right, so let's get more creative. So to try to figure out what these houses are going for in the area. We see the area that we're in. We see our flag. So we're trying to figure out what this subdivision is so that we can use it as a comparable. The best thing we're going to do is right here. If we go to the map here, let's just type in, let's go to commercial. Back to commercial. And on the legal description, I'm going to type in Atlantic Gardens. We're going to try to find out what the subdivision name is. This is a difficult one, and I have I know why, because and it's not easy to do what they did back then. They were able to move the names around and, you know, play with it. We're in commercial, right? So let's look up closed. Alright, the whole purpose of doing this is so I can look at it on a map. Watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pay attention to these landmarks. I'm going to pull it all the way up. If this helps to go a satellite view, it helps sometimes. We're just looking for this neighborhood. This neighborhood is off of Atlantic, the west. I'm just remembering some some marks. It's off of Atlantic Avenue here, and Fifth. It's the intersection of Atlantic Avenue and Southwest Fifth Street. So I'm trying to figure out what this subdivision is called. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all this. I'm gonna highlight this. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm just gonna highlight it to see what's going on here. All right, I'm gonna change this. Actually, I'm gonna even make it even smaller. I'm gonna make it even highlight even more because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out the general area of this area. I'm trying to figure out exactly where we're at. So we're gonna go here and extend it, edit some more. Basically make it into a square. It's being difficult. It's not really, but it's not helping us right now. Alright, it's in a square. Now we're going to go here and we're going to switch it to residential. And they took away everything. But at least we still have an idea of the area. And I'll show you what we're looking for when I'm saying we're looking for subdivision. We're going to go here. Now it's going to show us everything active in that area, which is looks like nothing's active in the area right now. Let's look up closed in that area. We're just trying to figure out, I'm just trying to get some information. Let's look up closed. There we go. So now we know, based on the area, because we were off of Southwest, what was it, Southwest 5th in Atlantic. It was around here. So this house, it has to be, I bet you all these are going to have the same subdivision, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's look at a list of these. So all I did was switch to list view. So this is what I'm trying to figure out right here. Doesn't look like it's us right there. So now we gotta get a little bit closer because I think I got some areas that's not included. Like I went a little bit too much. Once you start seeing a different value in houses, like what I saw there was like some high luxury condos. So I already knew whenever you're getting closer to the beach, you're gonna see a lot of high luxury condos. So I already knew that's not what we're looking for. So I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit more, just so we can get more accurate within the neighborhood that we're trying to get information about. Oh, I didn't try to do that. It's not letting me click it. Let's try to edit it again. Edit shape. All right. So let's see. Now let's do a list. We got 12, because all these should be pretty similar. Southwest 5th Street, Town of Del Rey. I see a lot of Town of Del Reys here. All right, so with that said, because it's mixed, let's do this. We're gonna use a map view to get our comps. We're gonna use a map view. We're gonna look up similar properties. So the way we had it at first is okay. And because I know the area, and I'll always come back and edit it. You just let me know what you do. Because I know the area, I know that this is all similar right here. A lot of this is similar. And if not, you'll notice that the house is completely different. So now we go back to here. We're gonna add in some of the things. Some of the things that we know about this property. Yeah, it's commercial, but obviously we're not doing commercial right now. We're gonna just add in some of the main things. I wish it would tell us the amount of bedrooms. It does not, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. It does not. Let's look at the total square footage, which I do not see. They don't even have that on there. Total square footage. Let's look if we look at on the property appraiser. They give us the land square footage. They don't give us the building square footage though. We need to know the square footage under air. And we have no idea. Year built. Okay, so it's saying 1,800 square feet. So we're gonna give them a range. We're gonna give a range here, and we don't know much about it, but we're trying to get close. Let's do a range of, it's 1,800, so we're gonna do a range of, if it lets us add square footage, there it is. We're gonna do, let's go 1,500 to 3,000 just to see what's out there, or to 2,500. Yeah. So it gives us 14. It gives us 14 results. All right. Let's eliminate some things we know that this one doesn't have. Doesn't have a garage, so we can remove that. Let's take it out of the value. Doesn't have a garage, so it's 0. 0 garage spaces. We can make that 0. The room and bedrooms, because it's commercial, is kind of tricky, so don't be surprised on that one. And then we know it's no private pool. Let's see if that gives us, okay, that's helping us. Now we're down to 3 results. So we have 3 results to kind of compare it to. And that's all we're going to get in this situation because the place is a little tricky. And I'll explain this to Marsha, my client, when I call her, that it's a little tricky. And then something to look at, when was this built? This was built in what year? This was built in 1959. But we have enough right now, and as you can see, they're all close to 1959. This 1950, 1964. So this gives her a good set of results to go by. And I'll explain this to her later that we're comparing residential because that place got turned into commercial, which she knows, but we're going to compare it to her. We're going to compare it. So now we're going to click the CMA button right here. We're going to go click Use Selected. We're always going to do the quick CMA. Quick CMA button. Get the cover page. And the very next thing to remember is the subject. This is where we take this MLS number right here. We take this and we put it in here. And we put it where it says Auto Populate Field. So what that's going to do is going to get all the information from our original listing that we're comparing to. We're going to click Next here. And as you can see, there go the comparables. Remember, we selected these for them to show up here. We're going to go here. We're going to click Next. Kind of tells us where we're going to be at. It gives us all the information, and you can look at the information in detail, but it gives us somewhat of an accurate analysis of what sells in that area. You don't have to touch none of these because it does it for you. 2 things I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is download it if we need to share it in the future. And we're working on our Google Drives. We're going to have that down pat pretty soon, but I'm going to download it. For now, I'm going to download it onto my computer. And we're going to call this, we're going to put it in Marsha's folder. You'll all have access to this in a second. Marsha's folder. Sometimes you got to type in the word folder. I don't have her in here. I thought I did. All right, no big deal. Just for now, we're gonna label it. 115 Southwest 11th Avenue, Delray, Comps. And we're gonna call this Marsha, just so we know it's hers. And we're gonna save it here. The only reason I do that is because so I can go back to it later and I don't have to search for it through the MLS and all that. But you can see what we're saving. Let's look at it. I downloaded it as a file, but this is what we're sending her. This is the comps. It shows the first property. It compares all these side by side. It lets her know the price analysis. It lets her know kind of what to offer. It gives her a standing point. One thing I will call her and let her know that this place, you always want to let them know that it's sold for $220,000 to make or whatnot. Did I lose it? Yes, I did. All right, I want to do everything all over again. Sorry. But now you know, I don't have to download anymore. Go here. You got the subject property. Don't forget the subject. Subject property. I'll go to next. Next. And it's very simple. We're going to email it. And don't always remember to leave, to give a good title when we email. So next. Next again. And comp is usually, if somebody is interested in a place, they always ask for comps. Or I always recommend that they give, I tell them that we're going to give them comps, comparables. And this is the same thing that we're going to use as a lead source when we start collecting, when we start getting people online and they want to know the value of their home. This is what they look for. A lot of people a lot of leads that we're going to start chasing, we're going to be trying to offer them, hey, we'll give you a free value of your home. And this is what we use to get a value of their home. So that's all we did. And then, of course, we're going to do Marsha. We know it's Marsha Benjamin. And then we're good to go. And we just did it. That's it. That's all it takes. And then make sure we press Send Page. So we just did some comps. I'll add the video so you can play with it. I did that one for you. Now we can reference back. Something I want to bring up from now on, every time we do a video, and that's why I did it. I did a real estate training board, and I need to do a construction training board too, which we'll create. Every time we do a video, let's start creating an archive. Like, we don't even have to do a to-do list, but we should have an archive, some kind of way to design, like, hey, so we can reference back. We can search how to do this, and we just come back and look at the video, and it'll be a video that tells us. That's why I did this. I think this one has a video. Yup, exactly. So let's build off of this so we have one place to look for everything. So when we start training people, we have different ways to train them, and we can reference them back to the training page. So all I'm going to do is add this. I'll add this on the Trello for real estate, and we're good to go.